Nancy knew about the pain and the sense of betrayal in Rondo. On the whiteboard in her office at City Hall, she wrote, "Change comes at the speed of public trust." Her job was winning that trust. If you live or work in University Avenue, you've probably met her. Nancy, the daughter of Presbyterian missionaries, is a keen listener, a natural empathizer.
We didn't begin the conversation with transit. We began with understanding people's hopes and dreams for themselves and their children. What did they want for their neighborhood and their city? Folks talked a lot about jobs and education. They talked about being able to afford to buy a home. They talked about the business they built and wanted to grow. They talked about green space and arts and culture. We all talked about how transit might be a mechanism to achieve those goals. So one gentleman said it best after I had prattled on endlessly about something or another. He said, "Let me see if I've got this right. You want to make our neighborhoods more stable, our businesses more successful, and our streets more beautiful. At the end of the day, people cared less about what we had to say and more about knowing that we had heard what they had to say."
One day in 2007 was a turning point. Nancy got a call from the vice president of the St. Paul Foundation.
I hadn't been in my fancy new job very long when the phone rang, and it was John Couchman, the vice president of the St. Paul Foundation. I didn't get calls from foundation executives, and so I was more than tongue-tied. And he said, "Nancy, it's our tradition to support one initiative for each new mayor, and we're kind of curious as to what that one might be for Mayor Coleman." And I blurted out, "I think, sir, that it would be the Central Corridor." It occurs to me later I probably should have checked with the mayor, but I think it turned out all right. Sometime later, I was invited to a meeting at the St. Paul Foundation, and it was with John Couchman, and it was with Dan Bartholomew from the McKnight Foundation, and it was with Polly Talon from the Knight Foundation, heroes of our movement here today. And we talked about how our plan was coming together, what the themes we were understanding, what work we thought there needed to be done. We talked about how our partners were doing incredible things and needed support. And then they invited me to leave. And I thought, what's this all about? And I couldn't really imagine what they perhaps were talking about after I walked out the door. It turns out that they were planting the seeds of the Central Corridor Funders Collaborative.